Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're talking about income statement. What is an income statement? On your screen today, I'm going to put up an income statement, and I'm going to go through line with you guys on what each category means in the income statement and put it in the easiest way possible so you can remember when you look at an income statement in the future exactly what that line category means. I'm also going to share with you guys what's the most important things in the income statement. And before I get into the video, I just want to share with you guys, income statement is vital because every single person who ever is thinking about investing in a stock, you need to know what an income statement is. Every person who's ever thinking about starting a business, you need to know what an income statement is. You need to know what each category on an income statement is. It is extremely, extremely vital. There's no way around it. You have to know. So I just want to share that with you guys. And let's go ahead and get into this. So on your screen now, I should be showing you an income statement for Apple Corporation. Apple's an awesome company to do this on because everybody knows Apple. If you don't own a product of it, you probably know somebody that owns an Apple product. So the first few things you're going to recognize, you're going to see up there at the top, it says income statement. You're going to notice that there's 3 years here. There's 2013, there's 2014, there's 2015. So there's all 3 years. On most income statements you look at, they're going to show the last 3 years, if not the last 5 years. Just to give you some reference to look at and say, okay, revenue's going up or profits are going up or this or that. So generally it's going to show 3 years. So the first thing we're going to look at, you see the part that says annual data, quarterly data. We're looking at the annual data. So that's the amount that happened over the entire year. So revenue over the entire year, cost of revenue, gross profit, all those things over the entire year. We're looking at the annual one. So the first category you're going to see there is total revenue. It's right under period ending. Total revenue, you're going to see in 2013, if you go all the way to the far right, they did 170. Now that looks like it says 170 million in total revenue, but all the numbers are in thousands. They're all in thousands, meaning they actually did $170 billion in revenue. $170 billion in revenue in 2013. If you go 1 year over there under total revenue in 2014, September 27, 2014, they did 182 billion in revenue. In this past year, September 26, 2015, that year ending, they did $233 billion in total revenue. Total revenue is exactly what it is. It's the total revenue. It's the total amount of money coming into the company. It's not profit. It's not anything like that. It's just a total amount of money coming into the company that they sell their products for. The line category right under that is cost of revenue. Now, what cost of revenue is, that is how much it costs them to make whatever it is they are selling. So whatever they sold 233 billion worth of product to companies, right? Or to people or whoever. The amount that it cost them to make that is 140 billion in 2015. We're looking at 2015 now, and we're just going to focus on 2015 for the rest of the time. So 140 billion it cost them to make all that stuff, all those iPhones and iPads and those kinds of things. So they ended up coming out with gross profit. The gross profit's right under that. And remember, we're only looking at 2015 now. Forget the other 2 years. So the gross profit is $93 billion. That was their gross profit. Okay, moving on to the next category. You see there's operating expenses. It's kind of in a darker shade there. So now we're looking at operating expenses. We have research and development. What research and development is iPhones and iPads and all those things. They need to have a part of their business that's just focusing on trying to innovate in the future. So that's research and development. They have tons of scientists and engineers and all these guys and gals working for their company who are only focused on trying to make innovative products for the future. So that is research and development expense. They spend $8 billion on research and development. And that's not just paying all those people the salaries to develop those products and things. That's paying for all the new device, the new chips and whatnot to try out this chip and that chip, and paying for all those kinds of things, paying for the expenses to have the research and development facilities, all those expenses, that all goes in the research and development line category. So $8 billion, that's a massive amount of money to spend on R&D. But when your company is big as Apple, you can afford it. Next under that, we have selling, general, and administrative. They spent over $14 billion on that. What selling, general, and administrative is there's a ton of administrative positions, right? Invoicing, those kinds of things. Those kind of positions in the company that they spend a lot of money on, a lot of money. There's just a lot of administrative crap, people that are salespeople that need to be paid, all those kinds of things. A company the size of Apple spends so much money on all that stuff and all those jobs they create inside their company. That money has to come from somewhere. So $14 billion they spent last year on selling, general, and administrative. Non-recurring category, that is just like a one-time expense. Like say they spend just an extra $1 billion on something weird or something, that could go under the non-recurring. That's not usually a line category that's used very often. The other category, that's not used very often either. So basically they had their total operating expenses and whatnot. Once the $14 billion is taken out, the $8 billion, that's being taken out from gross profit, as you see. They have $71 billion left over at this point. So now they're still up $71 billion. All right, so we got some more things coming out here. So they had some total other income or expenses net. They actually made $1 billion somehow on other income. We could look into that and dive deep. I'm not really going to do that, and it's not really necessary for this video, but somehow they made $1.2 billion on other income. Earnings before interest and taxes, so now they're up to $72 billion in earnings before interest and taxes. They have an interest expense. They have no interest expense. You see, all 3 years, they never had an interest expense. Interest expense is exactly what it is. If they're paying out interest to a bank or something, they have to put that in that line category. There's nothing there. So their income before tax is still $72 billion. Then they have their income tax expense, which is exactly what it is. It's an income tax expense. They have $19 billion they had to pay in income taxes. As a corporation, all corporations usually pay between 25% and about 35% in income taxes, depending on the company. So they paid in $19 billion in income tax expense, leaving them with a total of $53 billion in net income from continuing operations. Net income from continuing ops, as you see there, $53 billion. Right under that, we have a darker shaded line that says non-recurring events. This is where non-recurring events, one-time things, one-time expenses, one-time things that are never in the general context, never usually happen. So these line items. So we have discontinued operations. What discontinued operations would be is, say Apple decided to shut down their iPad business. That would be a huge hit that Apple would have to take, because they would have to pay severance packages to a ton of employees who work on the iPad lines. They would have to shut down research and development facilities. That would be expensive. They would have to probably maybe mark down the iPads from retailers and whatnot. All those kinds of things would all go under discontinued operations. So that can be a big expense sometimes. Apple didn't have any. Extraordinary items are exactly what they are, extraordinary items. That could be maybe they lost a bunch of money because a facility got flooded, something like that. Or maybe they got a huge return the next year from a flooded facility, something like that. Or a tornado came and it destroyed their building. Extraordinary expenses is exactly what it is. Effective accounting changes, that is if they decide to do a different type of accounting. Apple did not change their accounting method. They did it the same exact way, so nothing there. Other items are other items. So that leaves them with a net income of $53 billion. They didn't have any preferred stock or other adjustments, so that leaves net income applicable to common shares of $53 billion. $53 billion. So that is how much money they truly made at the end of the day, when every single thing was paid out. At the end, they had $53 billion left over. That is a massive amount of money, but it's Apple and they're the biggest corporation in the world. We know this, but that is insane. So I hope this helped immensely, guys, understanding what an income statement is. It's not that complicated. It really isn't. A lot of people get scared and they're like, income statement, that can be a scary place. It's not scary. It's very easy when you break it down like that. As long as you remember the line items, as long as you remember the main ones, obviously total revenue, obviously cost of revenue, what's the gross profit, and then at the end of the day, what's the net income? What is left over after everything's paid? And when I'm judging a stock for investments, I want to see one that's revenue's going up and the gross profit's going up. And same thing with my business. Obviously, I want to see revenue going up and I want to see profits going up. If both those things are good, then that's awesome. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this, guys. This is part of a 3-part series. I'm doing the balance sheet tomorrow, doing the cash flow the very next day, and I'm going to release them all as single videos, and I'm also going to put them all in a category together. So if you want to watch all 3 at the same time, you can. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.